The Scottish Government has previously committed to the establishment of a statutory public inquiry into the handling of the pandemic. And today we have started the process of getting such an inquiry up and running. I can confirm that it will be established by the end of this year as promised, and it will take a person-centred, human rights-based approach. The inquiry will look at all matters related to the handling of the pandemic that are within our devolved competence, and this will include, of course, the situation in our care homes. However, we will also liaise closely with the UK Government and other devolved governments on the likely terms of a UK-wide inquiry, where possible, not least to reduce the burden on those who will give evidence to these inquiries. It will be important to avoid duplication and overlap. However, the need for cooperation with other governments is not, in my view, a reason to delay the establishment of our own inquiry. I do believe that a full public inquiry has an extremely important role to play, both in scrutinising the decisions we took and indeed continue to take in the course of the pandemic, but also, of course, in identifying and learning appropriate lessons for the future. Even with vaccination, we can't be totally relaxed about this surge in cases either. The link between new cases and serious health harms has weakened significantly, but it has not been completely broken. That means the rise in cases in the last week may well result in more people having to go to hospital in the coming days, perhaps requiring intensive care treatment, and unfortunately a rise in cases like this will still lead, I consider likely to be the case, in an increase in numbers of people dying. And that also means that if the surge continues and if it accelerates and if we start to see evidence of a substantial increase in serious illness as a result, we cannot completely rule out having to reimpose some restrictions. Of course, we hope not to have to do that, and if we did, we would be as limited and as proportionate as possible. However, as has been the case throughout so far and up until this point, what happens in the next few weeks will depend, to some extent, to a large extent, on all of us. This is yet another fragile and potentially very pivotal moment in our journey through this pandemic. And it is a moment to remember that even though most restrictions have now been lifted, the virus is still circulating, and we know that the Delta variant is highly transmissible. So we need to continue to take care, and we need to think about how, in our own behaviours, we can limit the ability of the virus to spread. Indeed, in some ways, the basic precautions we can all take have become more important, not less important, as life has returned so much more to normal.